Okay, so this is going to show you how to do Lab 5A, the Visio portion. Some people asked about it, so I figured I'd make a video. So basically, the lab gives you this list of columns. You might find this is the sort of thing you might find in a spreadsheet, except laid out, across the top. I'm using the spreadsheet just as a whiteboard, but here we have all of these items right here, and you have to figure out how to put them into pairs of relationships so that they are capable of being a well-designed operational database. So you notice when you go through here, you've got student, course, class, instructor information, and then room information. So this breaks down clearly into 5 different entities. One thing you need to understand before you do this is that there's a difference between a class and a course. We often don't distinguish between those in normal academic language, but a course refers to its course code, its description, and also the objectives and all the assignments with it, etc. You can picture it like a master of your Canvas course, for example, of what you see in Canvas. But until it's copied into a specific class that's offered in either a certain day, time, or place, such as online or a campus, there really is nothing to do. There is no class. A class is an instance of a course. So the course is the concept, the class is the implementation of that concept in a way that professors and students can join and learn together. Okay, so that's one important concept. So now what you have to do is you have to figure out which of these 5 entities are directly related. For example, students and instructors are related in that we interact with each other the way I interact with you now, but that's not a direct relationship. My relationship is with the class, and your relationship is with the class as well. So you wouldn't join the student directly to the instructor, you would join the student to the class. So the first pair of relationships here would be student-class. Each student can take many classes, and a class would have many students in it. Okay, course. Each course would associate with one class, but each class would have many, each course would have many classes, but each class would only be one course. I mean, you won't take English 062 and Math 065 in one course, right? Those are in one class. Those are separate offerings. So each class only associates with one course, but a course can have many different classes. We can have like 20 different math classes going on around the system. So this is one-to-many. Class, we're finding class is really important in this database. I'm just going to leave that for a minute. Instructor, what does it relate directly to? Well, instructor doesn't relate to a course because, again, a course is just a concept of a class. The instructor relates to the class. Each instructor would offer many classes, but a class only has one instructor. When was the last time you saw 2 instructors in the same class? Never. Okay. Each room, what does that associate with? Well, the room associates with the class as well. A room can offer many classes, but each class, the way it's scheduled at DeVry and Keller, is normally only in one room at one time. Now, if another university did it differently, like maybe they have 6-hour classes a week and you're 3 hours in one room and then 3 in another, that would be different. But the way we're defining it here would be one-to-many. So that goes to show the importance of needing context as to how in order to define these relationships. But this is how I would define them in this case. So the next thing we have to do is we have to figure out how to take all of these relationships and put them into Visio. You notice I haven't put class to anything here because just from reasoning through it previously, I knew that the class is kind of in this case where everything joins. So we've already kind of dealt with class, so I'm going to kind of take that out because its class is dealt with here many times over. So I'm just going to make these the relationships that we have to pursue. So I'm going to go new. I'm going to take a snip of that, and I'm going to copy it into Microsoft Visio, and I'm going to start up a brand new Visio file here. Okay, so this is what our task is. We have to put all these relationships into the database. At this time, everything you've learned up to this point just takes over naturally. Let's do student class. I'm going to have a student table, and each table needs a primary key, student ID, and class is going to be here as well. It has a name, and then we have class ID. Okay, and then what happens is you've got to do the relationship. So I'm going to take this relationship right here. I'm going to straighten it out. I'm going to make it a straight connector. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go to format shape, and I'm going to make it 1.5 or so it's readable. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to join up these two tables. Each student can take, many classes, and each class can have many students in it. Okay, that's a many-to-many relationship. So you know from previous labs, when you have a many-to-many relationship, you've got to have a junction table. So this is going to be a student class table, and it's created in the same formulaic way we've done all many-to-many relationships. You have student ID in here, and it's individually a it's individually a foreign key, but concatenated with class ID as the primary key. And I right click on that, and I go set primary key, right click, set foreign key, and there you go. Then what we do is we grab the relationship line, and the many always goes on the inside of a junction table. Goes on the junction table side always. You don't even have to think about it. It's always that way. Always. And I'm going to take this, and I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste it as well. Flip it around, and the many is going to touch on that junction table side, and the class side is going to get the one side. Okay, so now I've got that put together. The next thing I have to do is the course class relationship, and I'm going to grab a course right here, and you go to course, and then you go to course ID, because every table must have a primary key. And now it's for the relationship. Each course can associate with many classes. So we're going to take another relationship line and paste it, and I'm going to put the many side, many classes, one on this side, many on that side. Of course, we have to put course ID in here because the foreign key goes on the many side of the relationship. And click on that, and right click and go set foreign key. And then the other thing we need to do is instructor one to many. So I'm going to go instructor ID. We are going to go to instructor and get that happening. And of course we say each instructor associates with many classes, so we need another relationship line. And the many side goes on the class side because the foreign key goes on the many side of the relationship. And that's good. I don't know what that is. Get rid of it. Okay, and now we need to do the last one, room class. Each room associates with many classes. So we got a rhythm going here. This, oh, and I forgot to put in here for instructor. We need instructor ID, right? And you click on that and right click, go to foreign key, and that's set because each instructor can teach many classes. And then the last one here is the room. So we go room here. Then we go to room ID. And then we need the relationship, and again each room has many classes associated with it, and put that in there as well. Then we need to add an attribute to this table because the foreign key goes on the many side of the relationship. So we need to have the room ID in here. And this makes sense because if you look in the class table, you can see what the course is, what the instructor is, and what the room is. And we go to foreign key here. Click on this. Set foreign key. Looks great. Okay. So the last thing, couple other things you need to do here is you need to put verb phrases on these. So, and I would just, for junction tables, I just always go has, because the junction table is there structurally. It doesn't really reflect, real life. Each course, I would make that has too, or becomes, something like that. Each instructor, well, teaches. Each room hosts. I don't know, something like that. I'm not too fussy on the verb phrases. And then the last thing you have to do is you have to add in all of your non-key columns. Those you need to go back to the instructions, which I don't have up now, but go to the instructions and they will tell you the different columns that they should be available. Like, I'll give this one away right now. I mean, you should have a student last name. You should have a student first name. Okay, and then read through the instructions for this lab and make sure that you look at all the other non-key columns and put them in the appropriate tables as well. And that's how you do the first part. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this message.